The Aztecs come oh so close to sweeping back-to-back conference road games, but have to settle for a split. And the women remain undefeated in conference play with about 6 weeks to go until the conference tournament. Hello and welcome to Aztecs All In, the podcast that goes all in on San Diego State sports. I'm Louis Weiner along with Steve Perez, who may be miles away, but always close to a microphone. Right, Steve?
Hello, Louis. Heading toward the halfway mark of the season in the Mountain West, and despite the big win against the Running Rebels, quite honestly, at this point, the regular season title and number one seed in the championship tournament in Vegas, it's still anyone's at this point. But each win going forward looms ever larger.
Plenty of hoops, both men's and women's, in this episode, plus Steve with a look at the Aztecs' nationally ranked women's water polo squad. Very few fans thought the Aztecs would actually go undefeated in conference play. I'm talking about the men. But as Steve will recap in a few minutes, the Aztecs came oh so close. But the one thing the Aztecs absolutely could not do was lose back-to-back conference road games, and they were able to avoid that. But nothing is ever easy in the Mountain West Conference. The Aztecs had to go up against a UNLV team that had won 3 straight, including a big win on the road at Utah State. And the Aztecs had to play their second straight game without Magoon Guath, who was out once again with a hip injury. But the games must go on. Steve, Miles Byrd deserved his own marquee outside the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas because he put on a show as the Aztecs beat UNLV 82-71 to go 8-1 and remain alone in first place in the Mountain West Conference. He was unstoppable, going 7 of 8 from the floor, including 5 for 5 from 3, scoring 23 points. This was a close game with about 15 minutes left in the second half when back-to-back slam dunks from Kamani Hamilton and Tyron Jones pulled the Rebels within 2 points at 44-42. The Aztecs were in trouble during their next possession, but with the Aztecs about to get a 30-second shot clock violation, Reese Dixon Waters heaved up a shot and was fouled. So instead of UNLV getting a chance to tie the game, Dixon Waters hit both free throws to give the Aztecs a 46-42 lead, and they pulled away from there. The Aztecs got off to a slow offensive start in this one, missing their first 5 field goals of the game, but they did get to the line, and at the 17:26 mark of the first half, the game was tied at 4. The Rebels took advantage of the Aztecs' early shooting slump, taking a 9-4 lead on a Kamani Hamilton 3 with 15 left in the first half. But the Aztecs finally got hot when LZ Harrington scored off an offensive rebound. Dixon Waters hit a 3, and Pharaoh Compton with an emphatic dunk. The Aztecs tied the game at 11 and took their first lead on Bird's first 3 of the night, 14-11. With the Aztecs having trouble holding onto the ball, back-to-back threes gave UNLV a 17-14 lead with 10:18 left in the first half after the Aztecs committed their 5th turnover, 3 in a 4-possession stretch. A 3 by Isaac Williamson made it a 9-0 UNLV run on back-to-back threes, and it was a 6-point UNLV lead at 20-14. But the Aztecs took control over the next few minutes with a 3 from Dixon Waters and a 3 from Byrd to get within 3 at 28-25. They got within 1 with a Dixon Waters bucket, and congratulations to him on his 1,000th career point. Made it 28-27, with the Aztecs hitting 9 of their last 11 field goals, and they took a lead 29-28 with 2 Jeremiah Oden free throws. The Aztecs were able to stretch that lead to 7, 37-30, when Byrd hit a 3 with 1:34 left. He was 5 for 5 at that point with 11 points as the Aztecs completed a 15-2 run. After 2 UNLV 3 throws, Taj Dorville scored on a drive and was fouled, making it 39-32. But Jacob Barnaby was able to get a basket with 3 seconds left in the first half, giving the Aztecs a 5-point halftime lead, 39-34. Aztecs finished the half on a 17-6 run, while the Aztecs took advantage of their free throws, hitting 12 of 13, UNLV took advantage of 8 Aztecs turnovers, turning them into 14 points. Second half started off great for the Aztecs, with Byrd hitting a 3 to make it 42-34, the Aztecs' biggest lead of the game to that point. A steal and a slam by Byrd made it 44-36, but UNLV got right back in the game with those back-to-back dunks I mentioned earlier to pull within 2, 44-42, but 48-46 was the closest the Rebels would get the rest of the way. A Tay Simmons bucket with 11:36 left gave the Aztecs a 6-point lead, 52-46 on an 8-4 run. But a Sean Newman drive, score, and free throw, and a DeGorville 3 made it 60-50 as the Aztecs extended their run to 16-4. The Aztecs started putting this one away with a long NBA-style 3 from Byrd with 5:33 left to make it 68-58. And they stretched it to 13 after a steal and a Farrell Compton slam and 2 Byrd free throws, 72-59. That was pretty much the ball game. The Aztecs got their biggest lead of the game at 16 points with 2:15 left on a Miles Heidi dunk to make it 77-61. It got ugly late. Howie Fleming Jr. was called for a flagrant foul for pushing DeGorville to the ground after a timeout and before the ball was even put into play. He made 1 free throw to make it 80-66, and the Aztecs survived the final minute plus for a final of 82-71. Dixon Waters and Taj DeGorville added 13 apiece. Aztecs shot a scorching 57% overall, including 62% from 3 at 8 of 13, and missed just 4 free throws all night while hitting 22. Here's Aztecs assistant coach J.D. Luster after the game, courtesy of San Diego Sports AM 760.
It was a heartbreak, but, we got to have a next play mentality as a staff, as a program, and I thought we did that. I give our kids a ton of credit. We finished that game, which was a 9 o'clock game, flew back home, was home for a day, flew here and had a quick turnaround at 11 a.m. or 1 p.m. on a Saturday. So we didn't really have a lot of prep time. We didn't really have a whole lot of time to go over a game plan. It was really one day on the floor of really going over UNLV. And credit to our guys for being able to come out here and execute the game plan on a short turnaround. Well, that's what makes Miles Byrd special. Whenever you grab that score sheet at the end of the game, he going to fill it up.
Yep.
He going to have steals. He going to have block shots. He going to rebound. He do a little bit of everything. And when his shot is falling, he's one of the best players in the country. And that's the reason why people talk about him and like they talk about him, man. Taj is he's playing great, like you said.
Yeah.
And I think it's happening every day at practice. He's honoring the process. He's a guy who every single day you come in that jam center, he's in there working, he's getting his individual work in, and I think he's reaping the benefits of that, of the work that he's put in. And it's fun to see him come back home to Las Vegas and have a good game in front of family and friends. You know, me being a guy who played at University of Wyoming and I used to have to go home to play at San Diego, it's a hard thing to do. So there's a lot of distractions when you come home, a lot of people in the crowd. You want to play well for so many different reasons, and I thought he did a good job. And he showed some maturity just coming in here playing his game, and I'm happy he was able to show out tonight.
Steve, as the Aztecs move to the Pac-12, Coach Brian Dutcher has made it clear he has no intention of scheduling any of the high elevation teams, but that does not include UNLV, of course. The Aztecs have a deal with UNLV to play each other for the next 2 seasons at least, and I'd be surprised if it isn't an annual game for the Aztecs. Easy travel, and of course, they have great success, Steve, at the Thomas and Mack. Why don't you tell us all about that close Grand Canyon game now?
Well, Lewis, this one's not going to be near as much fun and entertaining as prior stats and recaps of earlier conference games here on Aztecs All In. No burying the lead on this one. They lost their first conference game of the season by a point to the Grand Canyon University Lopes in Phoenix. They have played this team 6 times and lost 5 of them. They are winless in 3 games on the home court of the Lopes Global Credit Union Arena. Now, they went by the Antelopes earlier in the series with their fuzzy horned mascot taking the court in front of their home crowd, known as the Havocs. They've since shortened it to the Lopes, and I've taken to calling them the Jackalopes. But here on out, since they are the Grand Canyon University Lopes, I'm going to shorten my references to them even more as the Grackalopes. Now, they were set to join the WCC, but then accepted a Mountain West invite instead, November 2024. They were initially scheduled to join the Mountain West on July 1st, 2026. But then the Mountain West offered an earlier join-up, and the Grackalopes said yes, so it's their first season in the conference, and Aztecs last in the Mountain West before moving to the Pac-12. Grackalopes, a program that has made it to postseason play consistently in recent years, and their addition created unbalanced schedules for all the teams this year in the Mountain West, meaning some get to play each other home and home in the conference, and some of them not. Aztecs happen to have the home and home with the Grackalopes, and they get a chance back at this team on February 17th at Viejas. As mentioned, they call their student section the Havocs, claim the biggest party in basketball, which is a bold claim considering the arena they play in, their home arena, has a seating capacity of 7,000. Can you still call it an arena if you only seat 7,000? Yeah, sure. Call it whatever you want. Call it a Coliseum. About 4,000 students routinely part of the crowd. College is private Christian, for-profit, so they've got money to fund the program in this NIL era. No published figures available, but they are said to have a war chest that compares favorably with other competing West Coast basketball programs, including the Aztecs. Proud basketball history, this school, with 3 NAIA national championships in the 70s and 80s. And I'd wager you can expect their students and fans to turn out in force at the Mountain West Conference Championship Tournament in Las Vegas to get March Madness underway at the Thomas & Mack Center. They stand during the entire game, and through the Division I era that began in 2013, have developed a reputation as one of the toughest home environments in the college game. Aztecs should know because they have never won in the arena. And I will reiterate, the series records now stands at 1-5. Aztecs without Magoon Guath in and out of the lineup this season. He traveled but did not suit up for the game. It's too bad. They could have used him against a team with 4 guys on their roster listed at least 6'10". First half, Aztecs had sharp offensive work from Elsie Harrington, knocking down his first 4 buckets to help keep pace with the Grackalopes. Aztecs had a small lead around the midway mark, did not distinguish themselves from beyond the arc in this game. Little arena, full house. Havocs practically on the floor with the players. Aztecs shot 17% for the game beyond the arc, 3 of 18 as a team. Meantime, Grackalopes, not known as a three-point shooting juggernaut, were 4 of 5 at one point in that first half. They finished the game 10 of 16. Miles Byrd, solid on defense in both halves, but Coach Dutcher would say later his players knew their opponents liked to drive into the lane from angles that they liked for many of their scores. There were just one too many times they were unable to defend him into the middle of the court, where there's more help on the Aztecs defense. And for the Aztecs, Miles unable to match the productivity on offense with just 6 points on the night, over from downtown. Still, Aztecs led at the half, 37-35. Second half, lots of great basketball highlights. Aztecs fell behind just outside the 15-minute mark and then went cold while the home team looked unstoppable, building a 12-point lead. My notes midway through the second half, Aztecs were outscored 23-10. The home team had 5 players either in double figures or a mere point away. Harrington and Reese Dixon-Waters, a.k.a. RDW, were in double figures by this point, but they needed other Aztecs to join them. Instead, to my eye, and of course grossly oversimplifying matters, the Aztecs were settling for quick shots or opted to attempt others of dubious quality during this period. RDW had to spend too much time on the bench, too, had 4 fouls, while Pharaoh Compton picked up number 3. I know they were all playing hard trying to win this thing. With 6:02 left, Aztecs down 63-56, needing both points and stops. B.J. Davis got them going with a left-handed make high off the glass, drawing a foul and converting. Aztecs kept on fighting, battling, closing it to within 2 to 4 points. Great playing by freshman Tay Simmons. Sophomore Taj DeGorville down the stretch with rebounds and dunks. Good D from them and the rest of the team. The Grackalopes did not make a field goal over the last 4 minutes of the game. They did it from the line. Aztecs keep getting stops scoring, and there's B.J. Davis with the ball inside of 30 seconds in a tie ball game, 68-all. He's barging for the basket inside of 10 seconds to play, and your Grackalopes fans will say he slipped. Refs call it a foul, and it's Davis to the line for one-on-one. He will make the first but miss the second. The lead is a point, just over 7 seconds to play. Makai Williams, down court, quick lobs up a shot that appears rejected by Byrd. There's another Aztec involved, though, Tay Simmons, who was whistled for the foul. Grackalopes and their fans in that tiny, frenetic, closed area loved it. Dutcher absolutely hated the call, made by a ref on the opposite side of the play. Williams, of course, makes them both, despite Dutcher's attempt to ice him with a timeout. There's 1.8 seconds left, a final timeout. Byrd will inbound, complete a long pass to RDW between half court and the three-point line. He launches a highly contested three, and it had a chance to go in but did not. Game over. Williams shared the game-high scoring lead with his teammates. Senior guard Jaden Henley each had 17 points on the night. Henley 6 of 7 from three-point range. Aztecs Harrington finished with 16 on the night. Despite the size of the Grackalopes and the Aztecs going small, total rebounds in the game, a dead tie, 35 each. A close game decided at the free throw line. Home team got more of the calls, which tends to happen, made 22 of 28. Aztecs took 19 for the line, made 16. Borrowing from a Steve Fisher era quote, he didn't worry about percentages, just ending up with more makes than the other team takes. Aztecs get a chance at the Jackalopes again next month at Viejas, and get used to playing them if you follow the Aztecs. Coach Dutcher is saying it's a convenient trip against a tough team that helps the resume. Of course, it would be more helpful if the Aztecs could win a few against them more often than not. Lewis, over to you.
Thank you, Steve. Let's check in on the women who hosted San Jose State at Viejas Arena Saturday and had their way with the Spartans in an easy 94-66 win. They won this one wire to wire to remain a perfect 9-0 in the Mountain West and extend their winning streak to 11 games. 12 different players scored for the Aztecs, led by Nala Williams and Kennedy Lee, who each had a double-double. Williams had 20 points on 7 of 10 shooting with 10 assists to become the first Aztec in the Mountain West era to have at least 20 points, 10 assists, and 0 turnovers. An early 18-0 run gave the Aztecs a 21-3 lead, and they stretched that lead by as much as 40 points in the fourth quarter. They made 14 straight three-pointers, which is tied for the second most in school history, but amazingly, the second time in the last 3 games, they made 14 threes. They've now won 17 straight against Mountain West opponents, going back to last season, and their 15-3 start, Steve, overall, is the program's best in 30 years. The Aztecs hit the road to play a very talented Colorado State team Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. local time. The Rams are 17-4 overall and in third place in the conference with a record of 8-2.
Aztecs do have one nationally ranked team in the building at the moment. Actually, it's in the pool, where the women's water polo squad ranked number 21 by the Collegiate Water Polo Association. They hosted number 2 USC Saturday afternoon in the Aquaplex and also had an exhibition match against alumni afterward. Team's anchored by Mimi Stupas, a junior who camps out at the 2-meter position for the team. Yep, that's the distance from the opponent's goal, and you could also call that position the hole set. One of the most physical and demanding positions in water polo, handling the ball on offense, drawing all kinds of heat from the defense, always looking to score or to dish to someone who can. She's had a lot of success there this season. Earlier in the week was named the season's first Golden Coast Conference Player of the Week in the 4-game Titan Invitational at Cal State Fullerton last weekend. Aztecs went 3-1. Stupas drew 12 exclusions. In translation, she got fouled a lot and the offender had to leave the pool and gave the Aztecs numbers. But at the invite, she also scored 19 goals, had 9 steals, and was 19 of 28 in shots on goal. The women were pummeled by SC 22-28 in that Saturday game. However, SC scored 7 goals in the first 2 periods. Women back in action again across town at UC San Diego in the Triton Invitational Saturday, January 30th. All right, we'll visit again after the upcoming Aztecs men's basketball game when the Aztecs take the road against Utah State. Meantime, stay in touch on the X at the handle at Aztecs_all_in. Also, feel free to drop copious notes to us via the Google, aztecsallin@gmail.com. If you would be so kind, please also give us a like, a follow, a subscription on Aztecs Prom Queen Wave, where those sorts of gestures are encouraged and appreciated. Until next time, Steve Perez for Louis Weiner, thanking you for being you and allowing us to be part of your day. Hope the rest of it is a great one.